Sawadee krap, Sashikaji, and welcome back to TSN Talks. In today's episode, we have a guest who doesn't like sticking to one lane. He's already co-founded a sustainable/social enterprise, a private security company, dabbled into education, fitness, and now works with investors. So let's waste no time in welcoming this really young but hardworking person, my friend, Mr. Manish Sethi. Welcome, Manish.
Sawadee krap, Sasikal. Hello. Nice to meet everyone too. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. Very kind of you.
Thank you. Great to have you here. So I talked a little bit about all these things that you've done, but I guess let's start from the origin. Rescued Glass. This was still, I think, since we were still in school, right? Why don't you talk to us a little bit more about what Rescued Glass is, how you started with it, where this idea came from?
Yeah, so Rescued Glass feels like long ago now, but it was like 7-8 years ago. I think I was in year 11, year 12 in high school. My co-founder and I at that time, Alvin Shaw, came up with an idea that so many bottles were being thrown away. And all these bottles were quite beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
The Grey Goose bottles, the whiskey bottles, the beer bottles. We're like, how can we transform them into something beautiful?
Right.
So I took these bottles and made them into snack bowls, candles, and all these things. And beyond that, we're trying to give back to charities however we could. We work with organizations like Second Chance to make upcycle packaging and things like that too.
Okay.
So we were learning as we went. It was our first project we started from school, and through time I expanded it with my team so far.
Okay, so what was it able to grow to ultimately? How long did you do it for?
Oh, I think I did it since year 11 of NIST, so 8-9 years ago.
Up until today?
Up until today. Today I'm not actively involved in it.
Right.
I have a team in a few schools, but at our highest point, we were working with around 8 international schools.
Right.
And we had a team for each international school. We had a lot of interns working with us. We were trying to expand worldwide, which was, don't get me wrong, was super difficult. Until today, it's been one of probably the hardest things I've ever done,
right.
Starting a social enterprise or starting a company per se.
Okay.
But we learned a lot from it. Now some of our products are in the Emporium. We have some cool partnerships.
Right.
But it's not a main focus for me whatsoever at the moment.
Okay.
But I learned a lot from it.
Interesting. What made you want to go into like a sustainable product, right? Just to begin with,
I think
as your first project.
I used to party a lot too, but I used to see these bottles. I'm like, damn, they're beautiful. Like a Grey Goose bottle was really nice looking, and we're like, how can we take it into something and transform it into something beautiful? But I think what I enjoyed the most through Rescue Glass was how could we make impact. So
Right.
working with international schools, working with upcycle clothing, and then giving back and recycling and reusing glass bottles, and trying to combine those three together was an interesting learning opportunity to give back to the community.
Okay, great. So that was your origin, and you learned quite a few things, it seems like, from that.
And I failed a lot.
Right. Talk to me a little bit more about that, right? As a first business,
Yeah.
enterprise, you must have gone through quite a few things.
Absolutely. I think when you see online or on social media, how hard is it to be a founder? You know, make your first million sales in 1 year. And I think that unrealistic expectation is evident, especially for myself. I was like, how hard can it be? Start a company, have a few employees, or lead a business and
Right.
make stuff. But damn, it's hard. I think as a CEO or a young founder, it's always about problem solving, constantly solving problems and figuring it out.
Absolutely.
Like if you ask me, do I know what I was doing when I started Rescue Glass? No. Do I know what I'm doing 8 years after running Rescue Glass? Not so much either, right? I'm just figuring it out along the way.
Right. Great answer, actually. As a young founder, are those some of the challenges that you see?
Yeah, I think it's, what I learned through my journey at Rescue Glass was don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and understand how you define success or failure.
Right.
Success to me with Rescue Glass was how can I learn as much as possible, and how can I make a positive impact as much as possible. And to me, I find myself successful in that front. But
Okay.
everyone's got their own measure of success, or whatever
Right.
that means for them.
Fair enough, right. So after Rescued Glass, what did you do next?
Yeah, so Rescue Glass I started in high school, and it actually grew a lot when I was in university.
Right.
And then I came back because of COVID. That's when it grew the most, because I was doing it while still going to university online.
Okay.
But then when I went back to university, I was doing a lot of events. So I was working for a Bollywood company. I was helping the founders, so I was quite hands-on, hosting Bollywood nights and things like that. That was a really great learning experience and a very steep learning curve.
Okay.
I did that for a while. Then the nightlife just got too much. It was just too hectic. Like you finish an event at 5 in the morning, you come home at 5:30 in the morning, you're launching the next event.
Okay.
That was a life I was living, and on my phone all the time, working with DJs, artists, managers, VIP guests. It was just insane.
Okay.
So I left that, and then I joined a climate tech company, working in sales for a year and a half, more or less.
Wow.
Moved back to Thailand to work remotely, burnt out, quit my job, and then I'm here today.
Okay. Wow, Manish, you are really like putting your fingerprints all over the place here. Climate tech, and then even doing events management and DJs. That's really exciting. Wait, I read somewhere that you currently work with investors and founders to help them raise money. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So one of my part-time jobs now, I work at Wiles Global.
Okay.
So we're like a financial advisory firm or like a boutique investment bank. We help late-stage startups raise capital. So usually we help startups raise between 1 and 5 million US, and we provide things like fractional CFO and become part of their team to help them raise capital.
Okay, interesting. Did you stumble upon this, or was it always a passion of yours or a goal of yours too?
To be honest, I was never the strongest in finance, and I think that was my weak spots, to be honest. But one of my strengths was going to a lot of events. You know, I've seen you at a few events recently too.
And
I go to a lot of events and connecting people. So this opportunity came to me through a mutual friend, a friend of a friend, and I was like, you know what, this is a great opportunity for me to learn from a founder point of view, from an investor point of view, and try to connect them with VCs and things like that. So it's been really good learning so far.
Okay. That's really interesting, because how do you think your experience working at all these different like industries almost, do you think it's helped you? Because a lot of people, it's probably the contrarian approach, right? A lot of people just stick to one career and then just do one thing really, really well.
Yeah.
Whereas being able to have a footprint, let's say, in every industry could give you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and it's a hard thing to think about. Even for me, sometimes I think about, should I have just gone corporate and work at a big corporate after London? I'm glad I didn't, but I think there's no right or wrong.
Right.
And I'd like to hear your perspective in a second too. But for me, I think it's really good that I got different exposure in different industries, and I feel like the skills I'm trying to develop are going to be helpful in one way or another and overlap in what I do in the future as well.
Right.
So I'm glad I did that. But what do you think? What about your career journey?
Yeah, I think it's important to actually dabble in different industries, because everybody's systems are different, right? Everybody does things in a different way themselves. People in like hospitality would approach a problem in a certain way, whereas a tech company might not approach it that way. So I think it's actually really interesting, and it gives you a good perspective once you're able to work in different industries.
For sure.
But like, I want to talk a little bit more about that, right? Because what I think the main part is when you work with different people, it's the soft skills that you learn, and maybe you pick up on these things. You don't really learn them. Talk a little bit more about that. What kind of soft skills do you like to see in people, especially if you're working with an investor or a founder and they're pitching to you?
Yeah, I think in general, I think it's someone's ability to be able to read and understand a person, right? For me, I think about, why does this person think the way they do? What's important to them? You know, what are they looking for? And reputation also kind of matters, but reputation only means one thing. But if, let's say a founder comes to me, hey, I want to raise this, that, I can just cross-check who they know and hear what other people are saying about them as well. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. There's no right answer to that.
Right.
But it's more about, can I trust this person? Do I feel like, will the founder, you know, stick to his word? Is what he's saying is true? Okay. So it's a lot about due diligence that you learn. And I still have a lot to learn in this front, right?
Absolutely.
Meet more founders, hear more ideas, hear more dreams. And how many of these dreams can actually turn into reality? I'm not too sure, right? It's a process.
Yeah, we actually talked about this earlier, about the amount of products that go into market and how many of them actually survive. Do you have any personal experience seeing people in this field?
Yeah, I think, you know, one thing I appreciate is the importance to be agile and always adapt and always change.
Correct.
Right? Market's always changing, things are always changing, times are always changing. So I think as a founder, your ability to adapt to your customers' needs and to what's important of the hour is important. But I think if you don't change, you're not going to be able to last long,
be obsolete,
in my opinion. I believe so, yeah.
Right, fair enough. So throughout this entire kind of journey, so to speak, right, I assume there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, as you said. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of those downs that you faced during your journey?
Absolutely. I think it's so important to talk about the challenges you face as an entrepreneur or as an investor or whatever it is, right? I think a lot of what you see on LinkedIn or on social media is highlighting the highs, but not talking about the lows. Yeah, it's been a lot of challenging times where I'm in the office alone, like, shit, what do I do today? I have no idea what I'm doing. Or you have a team that, you know, sometimes it's hard to work with the team. Of course it happens, right? So that's a really big part of it as well. One of the other challenges I face is that, you know, what are my skill sets? What are my strengths? And what does that align with my personality? And what job works with me? I had the privilege to work for a London climate tech company and work in sales, and they were okay for me to move back to Thailand and still work from here. Right. It was a great honor for me. I thought it was a dream, but I worked there for a while and I realized the remote work hours were too crazy for me. Yeah. I was working 12 to 12 every day. I had no social life. I was just working all the time. Okay. And it was really difficult. I burnt out. I was like, what's the purpose? You know, like, what's my point here? Just to make money? No, it's more than that, right? So a lot of those challenges come along the way as well.
So is that the moment where you decided like corporate is not for me anymore?
Yeah, I think it was a big reflection point for me. I was like, damn, it was my dream to have a remote company, get paid in pounds. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, live in Thailand.
And live in Thailand. But I realized that doesn't suit my personality. I'm more of a people person. I like to be in the office. I like to meet people. I like to go to events.
Fair enough.
So don't get me wrong. I learned so much from the company I was at before, and I'm so close to them now.
Yeah.
But quitting that job was super important for me, and I'm so glad I did.
Okay. Would you say that's one of your better decisions that you've made?
Yeah, I'd say so. But at the time, it was so hard to quit. But I quit, and I took 2-3 months off to reset and try to re-energize and redirect where I want to go. And if you ask me from a year from now where I'm going to be, I can't really tell you.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get better at having a direction or a goal and working towards that.
Okay, fair enough. Talk to me a little bit more about being a young entrepreneur, right? I know we talked a lot about the journey and what you did, but because there's definitely an age element to a lot of entrepreneurship, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
Have you faced any specific challenges when you, in regards to being a young entrepreneur, have you been turned down? Obviously, probably yes, right? But
yeah,
share some experiences.
That's an interesting question, actually. The more I think about it is that some people say, Manish, don't tell people your age. Or some people say, tell people your age, right?
Yeah.
It's that yin or yang, or that imbalance of like, if you say you're too young, they won't take you seriously.
Right.
Or if you say you're too young, they won't take you seriously. Or if you tell them your age, they'll be like, oh, what do you know? You're a kid.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still figuring it out. But I tell everyone my age. I'm 24. I'm still figuring it out. And I'm starting to have more belief in myself. I'm not trying to get too cocky or anything like that too. And it's a hard thing to balance as well. But having belief, like, hey, I've got a good attitude. I will learn. I'll work hard. And I have that energy because I'm younger.
Yeah.
I can utilize that to my max potential.
Okay.
But there's no right or wrong. I guess it depends on context as well. What do you think?
I think there's definitely an element of it, right? If you're younger, you're perceived to be inexperienced, like ultimately. But it also depends on yourself and I'd say how you portray yourself, right?
Absolutely. And I think back to your previous questions too, is like, I think actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
A lot of times, all of us say we're gonna do X, Y, Z, but do we put our money where our mouth is, right? Like, do you show up early to meetings? Do you come late? Do you say you're gonna do something, you don't actually do it? So all these signs, I try to become a good example for.
Yeah.
And I have a lot to learn from that as well. But I think that's really, really important.
Nice. From attending a lot of these events and meeting a lot of these people, I'm sure you've taken inspiration from a lot of people that you've met along the way.
Yeah.
Can you name some of them that maybe stood out to you?
Yeah, well, P. Aim from Aim Ventures. I met him a few times at events. Alex from Asia Pillars, PTY York. Alex from Asia Pillars is a great connector. Same as P. Aim. They're at events, they're connecting people, they're speaking to people from different industries. So there's so much to learn from them. Also from T.Y. York, PTY. I went to 2 of his AI events, and seeing how he talks about how to leverage AI for business just blows my mind.
Right.
But those are just 3 names. I have so much more people to credit and so many more people I've learned from events.
Along the way, I'm sure there's a lot, right? So of all the roles that you've done so far, right, of all of them, do you have anything you're functionally looking forward to in the future? Anything that stands out that say like, oh, that's something I haven't done, maybe I want to try it?
Yeah, so before I answer that question, I'll share a little bit about the different projects I work in now, and that might change 6 months from now and a year from now.
Go ahead.
So right now, I work at a school part-time. I teach 3 days a week. I work with Wiles Global, a financial advisory firm, 1 day a week, but I attend a lot of events on their behalf. I work with my family. We do a bit of real estate, so I help manage some of that.
Right.
And lastly, I run a private security company, more like a freelance base, but we have a lot of projects as well. So those are my 4 main focuses for now.
Right.
But I still think I'm doing too many different things.
Okay.
So I'm trying to focus more and know where to put my efforts right now.
Okay.
Because before this, I was doing like 6 things. I was doing a bit of recruitment, a bit of consulting.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Crazy.
So I'm still figuring it out.
Fair enough. Talk a little bit more about the security firm. Actually, I saw a picture of you with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, we got really lucky. Mike Tyson was in town for an event, and we had the opportunity to look after him for the day, for one of the events. Although I was there for only an hour, my team was there with 8 of us. We had some police and stuff like that as well to help look after him. Although he's already strong enough.
Is it possible to look after him?
It was for the fans to be safe. Let's just say that. There was 500, 600 fans. We had to stop him from the fans. He is.
How long have you been doing this private security gig for?
I'd say I've been into private security more or less for the last 5 years. Because I used to do a lot of events in Thailand too.
Right.
So I used to host a lot of like parties and rooftops and things like that. So I had my own security team. But in the last 3 years, I think since COVID, it's slowly started to grow.
Okay.
Last year, I was involved with Rolling Loud, Wonderfruit, and then this year we had Mike Tyson.
Okay.
So it's slowly building my portfolio and my credibility and experience, perhaps, meeting with the right people. So it's been interesting.
Absolutely. How'd you get started with that? Because it seems like it's not weird or anything. It just seems like
it's like what is it Manish
Sethi
doing
what is Manish
with private
doing
security?
With private security
guy, right? 100%. I met this bouncer and he's my business partner now. People at a club at Koi, and I saw this guy. I'm like, dude, you're big. I like it. So I hired him for my parties that I used to host.
Yeah.
Then his attitude just blew my mind. And now I consider him family. He's been to my house, had lunch, met my parents, comes for chai to my house.
Right.
I do work with him. And at a point now, we built a brand together. We got clients together. Now he's looking after celebrities and getting flown to Sweden to look after artists.
Okay.
So now he's so happy.
Right.
So now we're trying to scale that business and find our niche. So I met the guy at a club. Long story short, I trust him. He trusted me, and we worked together.
Dude, that's a lovely story.
Yeah,
you know why? Because I think most businesses, that's how they start. You meet someone that you actually connect with, or maybe speaks the same language as you. And I guess that goes to show how open you are as a person, or the ability to network with people, even when there's like you're in a club, like there's not even a chance to network.
Yeah, it was a unique story, but we learned a lot from that. So it's been good.
Nice.
Let's talk about events a little bit. What are your thoughts on there's so many events out there, and I've seen you go to more events as well. Like, what do you want to share about events out there? How important it is to go out to events and your personal experience?
Yeah, that's a good topic actually. I think it's more so like putting yourself out there. Like you can't know you won't know who you're gonna run into every single day, especially if you're sitting at home. If you're going out, at least there's an opportunity to meet people, just because people come with an open mind, to say the least.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of times when you go there, you're not there to always be selling. It's more to like connecting first.
Yeah.
Seeing if this is the right person to not even work with, just to be friends with. And then the work part kind of comes later for me personally. Is that how you approach it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people overuse, or I don't know. I don't even like the word networking. I go to events to meet people, to learn from people, and find interesting people doing interesting things that I think I could learn from, and maybe they can learn from me in providing value to each other. Right? And it takes time. Like the people I'm working with now are the people I met 3 years ago. And I believe the people I meet now, I could work with them in some capacity in 3 years from now.
Right.
But it's about finding the right people I want to work with, attitude, and just learning.
You never actually know who it might click or who you might end up working with, right? And I think that's coming from some of the stories you've told, like that's kind of been the case. And even if you take stories from, successful entrepreneurs in the past, a lot of times it's stumbling upon things or stumbling upon people.
Exactly. It's the right person at the right time. It comes down to luck as well, but to some extent you can build your own luck too. And back to your point, I think it's about not being afraid to put yourself out there, to just say, hey, I'm at an event. It's my first time at an event. I'm kind of scared, and you'll realize that other people could be scared too.
Other people are scared as well.
And then if you go to more events, like I've been to 30 events the last 3 months. I'm used to going to events now, but when I first went to events, I was bloody scared.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I have no idea. Like, hide me, and I'm scared to talk to you.
Talk more about that. Like, what made you want to go and say like, oh, like I'm done being at home. Like, let me go out and explore or something like that.
I think it started more when I was in London, when I was in King's College. And I think there was just so many events out there. There was tech events, AI events. There was like university fairs, university societies. So I was like, oh, okay, let me just try to go to random events and meet random people.
Yeah.
So it was fun. You learn a lot from different people, different industries. And even now in my day-to-day, I try to meet people from all industries. I meet lawyers, I meet event organizers, I meet founders, I meet like just random people who I can learn from, and hopefully they can learn something from me as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had to prove something when you were getting started initially?
Yeah, I think, when you first start, you're always scared, right? You're like, what do people think about me? Like, am I doing a good job? Like, am I working hard enough? But I think it comes down to like having belief in yourself that, hey, I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to prove myself to anyone.
Yeah.
The moment when you think you have to prove yourself to someone, it's a tough part. But don't get me wrong, it's an emotional journey. It's like you take sometimes when you're a founder, the company is part of you. And knowing the difference is also important. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the emotional there's a lot more emotional ups and downs of course when you're a founder of a company. I don't think there's really clocking out or anything of that sort, right?
Yeah.
If you can clock out, physically, maybe not mentally, and definitely not emotionally.
100%.
Yeah, I actually wanted you to touch base a little bit more about like the emotional side of things. Like,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned like getting burnt out, right?
Yeah.
After a corporate job. But then the switch from that to be able to like, have your own company, and then the ups and downs that comes with it. Do you think that's like really underrepresented? Because as you said, like on LinkedIn, people are just going to post the good things, right? They're going to post their wins, the new clients they got, whatever happens, right? But the downs is not really going to be magnified ever, if at all.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think LinkedIn, a lot of the time, or even in general, right? Most of us tend to share only the successes, only the highlights or the highs, rather than the journey or the struggles. Whereas what I think I try to do is share more my journey on LinkedIn. I'll post, I've done X, Y, Z, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm still figuring it out. Or I've done this and I failed and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think the honesty or the part of just sharing your story is important for me.
Yeah.
And I think all founders and young entrepreneurs and even entrepreneurs should realize that everyone's still figuring it out in some sort or some extent. At least I believe.
Yeah.
The founders I've spoken to, the much more successful people I've met, they share the
They're
same
still
thing with
figuring
me.
it out.
They're still figuring it out, and they're making mistakes. Like, you're not gonna wake up one day and make no mistakes and have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Right?
I think if there's one thing I would emphasize from that is like everyone's still figuring it out. I think that's like probably 99% of the people I would meet, even at like events like you say.
Yeah.
Like even though they're really successful, you can see he acts like he doesn't, or they act like they don't even know much, right? They act like they're still figuring it out, and that shows the reality a lot of times. Like that's what I like more, because it's a lot more natural and a lot more organic, right?
100%. I think one of the questions I always ask myself is, what does success mean to you or to us? And I think that's an ever-changing thing, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's how can I learn as much as possible? And how can I make a positive impact in whatever shape, way, or form, and what work I do? And I'm still figuring it out, you know? What about for you? What does success mean for you?
A lot of people would put that to numbers, right?
Yeah.
Would just mean like, if I make so and so, like I am successful or whatever. Do you agree with that?
I personally don't necessarily agree with that. I think, when it comes to earning financially and numbers and things like that, it comes with time.
Yeah.
I believe that if I build the right skills, the right attitude, the right network of people who trust me and I can trust, financial abundance will just be a byproduct. It will happen for sure, with no doubt. Just a matter of time and when, and with time, slowly working on it.
Okay.
So become a person of value,
right?
Then you will earn whatever you want to earn with time, but you can't rush straight into it. And I'm still slowly, focusing on becoming valuable in what work I do, and I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because like it's not often that you would see someone sharing the same mentality as you have, right? So tell me a little bit more about how you developed that mentality. Do you read a lot? Is it from all the people that you've met along the way that guided you?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. Surrounding myself with people who love to learn, love to push themselves in healthy and safe, in good capacities. Having great mentors who push me, who challenge me, good friends, good family and parents who guide you in the right way.
Yeah.
So it comes down to all those things. At one point, I was reading a lot. I could say I've read over 30 books now, but I can't tell you the last time I read a book. It's been over a year, right? I used to listen to a lot of podcasts and things too.
Yeah.
But it comes in waves, right?
Oh,
sometimes
absolutely.
I'm like, okay, I'm reading 2 books a month, writing all my notes, listening to podcasts all day, every day, and I haven't read a book in like a year now, right?
Yeah.
So it comes with waves.
Just ask AI to summarize it.
Yeah, exactly.
We touched on a few things. I think the main part that I wanted to share from this podcast and from speaking with you is kind of the ability to be fearless to an extent, right? To go after the unknown and just be yourself and kind of be a little bit more open and receptive. And I think you embody most of those elements, right? So it's kind of the reason why I wanted to do on the podcast, to share your perspective on things like that. Okay, Manish, talk to us a little bit more about teaching. Did you say you teach also?
Yeah. I'm a part-time teacher at Newton Business School, so I teach 3 days a week. I've been teaching for a bit over a year now, and I've been really enjoying it so far.
Okay, what do you teach?
I teach about product and service development. So it's essentially how to build your own product or service, how do you pitch, 7 P's of marketing, kind of like how to make your own startup in a short course.
Okay, interesting. And are these two, I assume they're like older students, right?
Actually, they're high school students, but they're final year. So you're 12 and you're 13.
Okay, and how's the process like? How did you stumble upon this again, or
I
What's the
stumbled
deal with
upon
this?
this through a family friend
Okay.
who helps run the school. And my father was like, why don't you go check out the school and hear about it and maybe work part-time or see about it. And the school is a really unique school and I really enjoy teaching there. So I was like, okay, let me get some hands-on experience and teach some students, and it's been a great experience so far.
Okay, great. I always thought personally, like whenever you teach someone, it actually refines your own knowledge more, just because the act of teaching. Do you agree to that? Does it help yourself when you're teaching students, when you work
Absolutely.
with these
I'm learning more. I'm reflecting more by the questions they ask. And a lot of the work I do with the school is bringing guest speakers in.
Okay.
So similar to you bringing guest speakers to your podcast,
Yeah.
I bring guest speakers to come motivate or inspire my students.
Right.
So I had a senior VP at HSBC come. I had the ex-director of talent at Minor. I had
Nice.
PAM come. I had so many other great speakers who came to come inspire the students.
Okay.
And it's like being a bridge for the students and mentors.
Right.
So I'm trying to mentor the students a bit with things I wish I knew when I was back in high school.
Like something a little bit more practical, is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Everything I do at school is to make it as practical as possible.
Do you think it's like schooling has changed quite a bit since, I guess, we graduated?
Yeah.
Not even a decade ago.
Absolutely. I think it's changing so fast as the speed of AI is changing, right?
Yeah.
So rapid, right? And I think it comes down to developing the right skills like critical thinking, creativity, communication. So I think that's really fundamental.
Are those the three main things that you reinforce?
Yeah, I think so. Like critical thinking is like, questioning things and having a very deep level of understanding, not just putting things in the chat and copying and pasting.
Not just prompting.
Exactly.
Right.
And prompting is a science of its own, right?
It is.
Writing a better prompt gives you a better answer. So asking the better questions give you better answers. So that's some of the things I work with the students on.
Okay, interesting. So teaching, and what about events? Are you still taking care of some of those events that you
I
mentioned?
attend a lot of events. Like I mentioned to you, I've attended 30 events in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's around 10 events a month. But that disclaimer, it's only
Crazy,
been the
bro.
last 3 months. Before that, I attend events like maybe 3-4 events a month, not
Yeah.
10 events.
Okay.
I'm on like an intense grind with events.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get burnt out from that. So I'm reducing the amount of events and I'm meeting too many people. So that's also the disclaimer. But I'm not so much involved in hosting or managing events. I'm doing a lot of security operations with events behind the scenes of some events. But I do have experience in events management, and I've done it for the last, let's say, almost 10 years per se.
Okay, nice. Does this help you with people management and connecting with people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the events I've helped organize, I actually helped host at a family music party. This was 4 months ago with a few people I met as well. It was very small scale, but I'm always testing and piloting different things. Okay. But I help my friends organize birthday parties or whatever they need. They come to me and I see what I can to get them a good deal or help them organize. So I still do that on the side.
Like just completely entrepreneurial, but whatever comes, like he's gonna take
I'll
it.
find a way. I'll do my best. And I'm very honest. I'm like, hey, I don't know, man. But yeah.
But I'll put you in contact with someone.
I'll do exactly.
Okay. I think that's probably the main benefit of having a big network, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we touched upon quite a few things, Manish.
Yeah.
Any like last words that you'd like to share to, I'd say like for aspiring entrepreneurs or someone young that is entrepreneurial, but I guess haven't got the courage to be able to do it yet, haven't had the right idea to do it.
Yeah, I think the main thing I would say is don't be afraid to fail, man. Just try it, ask for help, talk to a lot of people who've done what you've done what you're trying to do. If you want to be an entrepreneur or a founder, speak to an entrepreneur or a founder. If you want to work in finance, speak to an investor, right? And learn from them. And don't only talk to one person. Get more perspectives. And I think having perspective is very important. And realizing that everyone's figuring it out along the way is so important. It's not like, hey, you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, I figured it out today. Like, it's not like that. And I thought it was. I really thought it was. And I realized I was completely wrong. Right? So, yeah.
Okay, so don't be afraid to fail. And speak to people.
Speak to people and ask for help.
Ask for help. Talk about importance of listening. What do you think about that? A lot of people just go and then talk, and they don't even listen.
We all know people like that at events, right? But yeah, no, I think listening is pretty important, and asking the right questions to the right people and having your own selective hearing or whatever you want to say is important too. So yeah, I think that's all very important skills.
Great. I think maybe in today's day and age more than ever, like selective hearing or whatever you say, like is so important because sometimes you hear too much and you can't actually process all that information, can you?
Absolutely. If you look, and we're on our phones almost all the time, scrolling through stuff. We're bombarded with information.
Yeah.
Real, fake, good, bad. We don't know. It's all subjective, right?
It's all subjective.
Full of gossip. This, that, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, in the Indian community sometimes, and the community, like, people are judging people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's real, what's fake,
Or what's
anything.
good, or what's positive.
Exactly, right? It's all subjective to some extent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So selective hearing. Don't be afraid to fail, and speak to people. Ask for help.
Exactly.
Be open. Great advice, Manish.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you for being here, spending some time with us. I think people would love this. A lot of our audience would appreciate this, and yeah, good to meet you again. Thanks for spending some time with us, Manish.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Take care.
Bye bye.